How do you identify opportunity in the real estate market?
Well, lots of different ways.
And one way I like to gauge where I think the market is going to end up is by looking at what we call the price gap. The price gap is easily defined as the actual difference in price between asset classes, or the difference in percentage of those assets at any one point in time. In this video, I'm going to show you those price gaps and how they have changed in the last few years. And hopefully after viewing this video, you will be better able to identify the right opportunity for you in my market here in Surrey, BC. And I'm going to do so right after I ask you to please subscribe to the channel if you would like to stay up to date on Canadian real estate. And if you are looking for an opportunity yourself right now, there is no better opportunity than clicking the like button right now for the YouTube algorithm. It's totally free and you would be helping me push this video through the vortex of YouTube, all while helping me grow this channel at the same time. And as a thank you for hitting that like button, I invite you to download our free Informed Buyer's Guide right now down below in the description. And of course, if you do need help identifying opportunities for yourself in my marketplace of Surrey, BC and the Fraser Valley, you can book a call with me, also down below with just a few simple clicks. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the price gap. First off, I need to make sure that you understand the three different major asset classes here in my marketplace. The first is what we call a single family home, otherwise known as detached. It's pretty self-explanatory. The second asset class is townhomes. Now, these are houses, they just happen to be connected on one or more walls in most scenarios, and they are usually stratified, meaning that there is a council or homeowners association. And the last is condos, which most often is basically just an apartment. Also, almost every single time it is stratified here in BC. Next, I like to look at the price of one asset class and compare it to the price of the other asset class. Then I look at that gap or the difference in price and compare it as a percentage to the higher asset class. So let's now travel back in time to 2019 when you could buy a condo here in Surrey for about $384,000. And a townhouse was considerably more at $557,000. The gap between these two asset classes at that time was about $175,000 or 31%. Then just a year later, condos sat over $403,000 and townhouses bumped up to $597,000. So this means now that the gap had increased to $195,000, but the percentage gap stayed very, very close, now just over 32%. But then within this last year of 2021, condos have now increased to an astounding $477,000, and townhouses $770,000, increasing by almost another $100,000 to $292,000 plus. But the gap is starting to widen at 38%. So that's been great for townhouse owners and rougher for condo owners. But what about those people trying to go from the townhouse to bridge the next gap into the detached market? In 2019, we established that $557,000 could get you into a pretty nice townhome. The price at that time for a detached house was just a hair over $1 million, representing a gap of 46.6%. Now, this is actually quite normal. Usually the gap between a detached home and a townhouse is greater than the gap between a condo and a townhouse. But let's keep going. That gap increased to over 49% in 2020 when townhouses reached almost $600,000. Detached houses rose to 1.174. or a gap of $577,000.
That's like two 2019 townhouses.
It is. Well, it was. And now in 2021, detached houses are over 1.55 million. But because townhouses have risen in price to over 770, the gap only increased slightly to just over 50%. But now that number is over $787,000. Remember, that's the difference in asset class. But let's keep this ball rolling and go back to 2019 and now compare condos to detached homes. If you were able at that time to skip the townhouse and go directly from condos to a detached house, the gap at that period in time would have been $660,000 or 63%. But now the gap is a whopping $1.08 million, almost 70%. Looking at this information, we can see that the higher asset classes are actually increasing at a more rapid pace than the lower ones. So this means that if you are invested in real estate, you should take the opportunity to move up when you can, if your goal is to increase your equity over time at as fast a pace as possible. However, I'd like you to also consider something called the Slingshot Effect. This is where one asset class either outperforms or underperforms another, and this will cause the asset class that is out of whack in one direction or the other to come back into line. When I see that the gap between detached houses and townhouses has raised 3.9%, townhouses to condos 6.9%, and 6.1% from condos to detached, the numbers show me that the condos are the thing that are currently lagging, and townhouses have started to catch back up to houses. So if I had to guess, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, I'm going to suggest that the condos have the best possible chance right now to see the greatest gains over top of the other asset classes. Another way to look at this gap between condos and detached homes is pre-virus. That gap was $660,000. Now it's 1.08 million. That's not the house price. That is the difference between the two classes. So even though prices seem like they can't go any higher, when I look at it this way, I have to disagree. Just recently in another video, I did predict that real estate prices will increase greatly and then drop by the end of the year. However, since then, the Bank of Canada has come out and said it is going to be their job to keep rates as low as possible, and it will be up to the government to try and legislate their way out of this housing crisis. So now that it looks like there is less of a chance that interest rates will increase, I'm pretty sure that means there's a greater chance that condo prices will increase rather than detached prices coming down, bringing everything back into line. There you go. I'd like to know what you think about the price gap down below in the comments. Book a call with me down in the description if you are considering making a move within Surrey or the Fraser Valley. Check out another video while you're here on the channel, and we'll see you in a couple of days.